Good morning. It is Let It Go and Let It Grow, and this is July 21st, 2026. So what are we letting go of today? And that is Eight of Sword energy. The swords are Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius signs. They are the mental house, the things that are going on in the head, air sign, so cutting through illusions. So we are looking at thoughts, beliefs, communications, mental patterns, and truths today. It is Jupiter in Gemini. So we are letting go the belief that you are trapped. If you can see this card here, she's looking at herself in the mirror, and she's obviously bound, blindfolded, and the crows are trying to help her break free. What she is looking at is the reflection in the mirror, and she is not seeing the true picture. So it's sort of like a dysmorphic view of herself. So this is saying for you today to not believe that you are trapped, because technically when you're looking at her the other way, she's not trapped at all. Where she is trapped is in her own looping thinking, her own rumination, and her own thoughts. So this is asking you today to step outside of your own illusion. And a lot of times I've talked about getting into that observer state. And when we're dealing with swords, a lot of times that's where you're going to want to end up. Observing your actions, observing yourself from the outside back in, and seeing yourself for a new lens, because things actually aren't the way that you are viewing them. The truth is not what you're seeing outside of yourself. So you have to get into that eagle eye, that observer aspect to see what the true story actually is. Let go of the thoughts that are telling you there is no way forward. So this is when you feel completely stuck. We have the king here, so there's a bit of an emotion involved as well. So this is where your thoughts then lead into that emotion, and you think there is absolutely no way out and no way forward. That is the all or nothing thinking. When you think of cognitive behavioral therapy, that's one of the things they teach you about. One of the ways they want you to look at yourself, all or nothing thinking. And then that's where you come into the observer state again and ask yourself, am I really seeing the true picture? Is there actually really no way forward from this? We all have bad moments. We all have bad days. We all have things that our thoughts start, that our emotions get ahead of us on. And we need to reel that back in and realize we are not seeing the truth. Release fear-based thinking and overthinking. So that overanalysis, that rumination, that when you do have that thought, you're allowing the brain to loop it and move it forward. If you start looping and start with the inability to get into that observer position, really take a time, step back, and there's a couple very quick ways of helping yourself through this. One is splashing cold water on your face, because it actually directs your feelings from inside outside. It actually gives you that gasp and helps you bring you back to the here and now. It helps you presence pretty much immediately. And it also stimulates the vagus nerve. And the vagus nerve is one of the nerves that gets confused when you go into that fight, flight, freeze. The vagus nerve is extremely activated. So by splashing cold water on your face, you shock yourself, and the colder the better. And you can even, if you're at home and it happens, you can actually even place your face in a bowl of water for a few seconds to stimulate and bring yourself back out. And the other thing is doing breath work, quick breath work. It doesn't have to be like a half hour. It doesn't have to be, it can literally be like 2 minutes worth, just to regulate your system and bring it back into balance, so you are not in this overanalysis and get yourself into the panic mode. Stop allowing past experiences to determine what you believe is possible. Just because something has happened in the past doesn't mean that is what's going to happen now. And that, again, is a mechanism of the limbic system trying to protect you. That is part of the nervous system saying, we've been through this before. It wasn't a good outcome. Doesn't mean that that's going to happen now. So that is when you get into another part of cognitive behavioral therapy, fortune telling. It's happened before. It's going to happen again. and if it happens now, it's going to happen and it's going to keep happening. So that's the fortune telling. You're getting into past and present, or past and future. So this is once again asking you to try to bring that state back into balance, try to bring your brain and your nervous system back into the state of balance and coherence and coming into that place of center. Not always the easiest thing to do. I know I go into patterns myself where I ruminate and spin. And that's from past experience and trauma as well. But it's knowing the tools that you have around you and knowing who you can reach out even to talk to and say, look, this is what I'm going through. What can I do to help myself out of this situation? So that is, what I would consider the phone a friend aspect of this. And hopefully you'll have somebody who has experience or tools, or who can just talk to you and help you realize and bring you back into the present, that you're not seeing the true picture of things that are going on. And it's not, the past experiences are not going to be, just because you had that outcome before doesn't mean it's going to happen again. Remember that sometimes the first step forward to freedom is recognizing that you do have choices. And in that state, you have the choice to pull yourself into a different direction and see things from a different light. So really allow those crow friends, and I don't know if you can hear, the crows are really active here this morning, and I don't know why. I don't know if you can hear them, but allow those crow friends to help you remove those binds and take that blindfold off and be able to see the true picture of what is actually going on around you. So the Eight of Swords reminds us that the mind can be either a prison or a doorway. Your thoughts are powerful, but they are not always the truth. Questions the stories that keep you small and make space for a new perspective. So try, if that is happening to you, to get into the observer state. And if you can't, try to learn some tools that can help you pull yourself back, and allow yourself the peace and the freedom from this rumination and overthinking. So what are we letting grow today? And that is the King of Cups. And cups are emotion, intuition, compassion, healing, spiritual connection. It is a water element, Scorpio, Cancer, and Pisces. It's a strong Scorpio influence today. So you are growing that emotional maturity and inner stability for yourself today. So once you have recognized what is going on and coming into that place of recognizing that you can actually work through this, you come into emotional stability. The King of Cups is here to tell you that you can be emotionally stable. As you see there, he's got a lot of energy coming through the heart center. There are no waves in the background. He is at calm seas, and he is in control of his emotions. He's actually using that bowl of water to his advantage, and just sitting there and using it almost as a meditative, contemplative state by being able to place his hands in the water and not having to worry about it. As you can see, his eyes are closed, the beautiful water crown above him. He's not stressed out at all. So allow yourself to feel deeply without becoming consumed by these emotions. That's bringing yourself into that state of presence and balance as you let go of what has happened through the Eight of Swords. Trust your intuition while remaining grounded. I love this card for that because there is a lot of red there. You've got the red starfish. The star to me involves in this the pentacle, which is the earth-centered suit of the tarot, which is grounding. It is the physical state. He's wearing a red shirt, and you've got the red little crab there. So it's all, the red to me is that grounding energy of the root chakra. So when you come out of something that is emotionally turmoil and you bring yourself around, you can realize that the grounding that you have been able to pull yourself into is actually really amazing. And lead with compassion without giving up your own boundaries. So that means that if you are holding that space for others, and you are in that grounded space, and you are helping in a position to help others and are working with others to help them heal, don't abandon your own boundaries, and don't let their fears spin you up and cause the seas behind you to become rough. You need that emotional groundedness and stability around you, and become the calm within your own emotional storms. Know that through these processes that you can learn tools to help you get through these. As I said, the simplest ones for me when I start spinning is distraction through breath work, distraction through a bit of meditation. And the water really, the cold water really, really, really works well to pull you back very, very quickly. So for Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces, the King of Cups reminds us that the emotional strength isn't about suppressing what we feel. It's about learning how to sit beside our emotions and listen to the wisdom and how we choose to respond. As I said, he is very peaceful in what he's doing and very grounded, and is using the water to his advantage, almost as a meditative tool there. And the seas behind him are calm. So, and with the white there too, I see this as a spiritual balance with the emotions as well. More of a sage, more of that sort of wise man, the ability to really harness this energy in. So the deeper meaning today, the Eight of Swords is surrounded by thoughts. I can't. What if I fail? What if I make the wrong choice? What if nothing ever changes for me? I get into this state, the what ifs. I'm like what if girl. So I totally can relate to this. Sometimes the greatest prison we experience has no physical walls. It's built from fears from your past experiences and your old belief system and paradigms. The stories repeat so often that eventually they feel like your truth, and you feel like you have no way out. The King of Cups arrives. He doesn't fight the thoughts. He doesn't run from the emotions. He simply sits with them. And the Eight of Swords says to him, I don't know how to get out of this. And then the king says, first you have to become still. So that is everything I said about bringing yourself back to that present moment, bringing yourself, grounding yourself, and bringing yourself back in, and snapping yourself back into the material world, believe it or not, the presencing, the here and now, what is actually happening right here, right now, and getting out of your head. And I just clued into me that I was talking about water and putting water on your face. This is the King of Cups card. So this is literally water. Water can help bring you out. Drinking cold water can also, taking that time out, walking away from a situation, getting a nice, I know for Chinese medicine aspects, they don't like you to drink water for spleen chi, but in a situation like this, you can really, that coldness going down here will snap you back into the here and now. So there is something powerful in this combination. The Eight of Swords represents what happens when the mind tries to control everything that's going on. That's when you start spinning. The King of Cups represents what happens when we learn to trust ourselves enough to feel. So this is feeling and working through that. Sometimes overthinking is not really finding the answer. Sometimes it's about avoiding the emotions of fear, grief, uncertainty, and your own vulnerabilities. And the King of Cups teaches us that we don't have to be afraid of what we feel. Our emotions are only visitors. So if you think of rough seas, they're not rough every day. Sometimes the ocean is so still you can see your reflection in it. So some days are rough sea days, some days are calm sea days. Some days you can take your kayak out and sit and, basically lay out on your boat and tan, and other days you wouldn't even go near the ocean. Life is like that. They arrive, they speak, and eventually they move through us. Your emotions are not your fear. You are not your fear. You are not the anxiety. You are not the thoughts that arrive in the middle of the night telling you that everything is going to go wrong. You are the witness. So if you think of energy, and you can think of things waving in and out, think of your thoughts as the same thing. If a thought comes into your mind, you don't necessarily have to attach to it. And this is where I was talking about, once again, becoming that observer. So if you have a thought and you're like, oh, you think, isn't that interesting? Why did I think of that right now? And coming to the teachings of Eckhart Tolle is one of the things I tell people a lot about this. You are not your mind, and you do not control your thoughts. And what do I mean by that? And I want you to try this exercise if you're watching this today. If you think you control your mind, and if you think you control your thoughts, what is your next thought? You don't know, because it happens. It's like we pick up frequencies of everything. We pick up the frequency of our past. We pick up the frequency of our future fears. So it's like we pick up, we're antennas. We just pick this stuff up. You do not know what you are going to think next. You don't. It's a happening. So a thought is a happening that you have to deal with and process all day long. The other thing that freaks me out sometimes is that I found out, I think it was a year ago, that not all people can hear their thoughts. And I find that so odd. So there are people that can have a thought and they don't hear the voice with it. And I didn't realize that that was the thing. So when I think, I have a whole dialogue, and a lot of people who have ADHD do. I have a whole conversation going on in my head that I can hear. And there are people that just have silence. And that freaks me out. I can't believe people can do that. I just can't believe it. So what else is happening today? The Eight of Swords is asking you to remove that blindfold. And the King of Cups is reminding us that when you do, you may discover that the way forward has been there all the time. So we are releasing the thoughts that tell you that you are powerless, and growing the ability to meet ourselves with emotional wisdom, compassion, and calm waters today. And you do not need to control every wave. You are learning how to navigate the ocean. So, questions of the day, the daily reflection. What thought or belief have been making you feel more trapped than you truly are? And what might change if, instead of trying to think your way out of a situation and through everything, you paused and asked what your heart actually needs today? And that beautiful glowing heart center is there. So may your path be gentle. May your heart always be open. And may you remember that you are the medicine. Have a great day. And I will see you tomorrow. Bye.